Welcome to the Life After Sugar podcast, the podcast that's not just about sugar, but about your relationship with it and also with food and especially with yourself. So if you want to discover your life after sugar and hear inspiring stories from all kinds of people who also cut out sugar in their way, at their pace, for their own reasons, this is the podcast for you. Because when you take away the sugar, you can finally discover the real sweetness in your life. I'm your host, Netta Gorman, and today I'm talking with Laura Bonicelli, who is a chef, an entrepreneur, a blogger, and a cookbook author. She's also the founder of the Bonicelli Cooking Club, which is a monthly membership that brings together people who love cooking real foods. But just before we get started with our chat, I'd like to tell you that I'm so excited that I have a new YouTube channel out called, surprisingly, Life After Sugar. And that's where I publish a new video every Monday. And I'd like to invite you to go check it out. And if you find that the videos are helpful for you, like them and subscribe to the channel. And leave me a friendly comment or two. And let me know if there is a particular subject that you'd like me to talk about to help you live your life after sugar with less added sugars and generally less processed foods. For the time being, there's a few videos already on there about the story behind life after sugar, my recipe for sugar-free chia jam, 5 tips to help you get rid of cravings, a video about the names for sugar and where those sneaky added sugars are hiding, and more. So that's the Life After Sugar YouTube channel. You can also find me on my website, aftersugarclub.com, where you can download your simple guide to getting more energy with less sugar. Just click on the tab Simple Guide. And if you're ready to break free from sugar for good, come join us in our monthly membership, the After Sugar Club. Go to aftersugarclub.com and click on the green button, Join the Club. You can also find me on Facebook, on Instagram, where I post pictures of what I eat, what I do, Instagram stuff, so that you can be inspired to see that it's totally possible to live a happy, active, and fun life, even if you don't eat sugar. All right, here's my chat with Laura, the chef. So nice to speak to you today, Laura. And can you tell me a little bit about your background with food and what your life was like before?
Certainly. Can I go back all the way to the whole beginning?
Yes, please do.
Okay. Well, I am an Italian American, and I was raised in northern Minnesota, and I had an Italian grandmother. So I grew up on pasta, gnocchi, but home cooked meals and, surrounded by a lot of community, which is something I feel very privileged to have experienced, and certainly influenced me when I became a chef and the experiences that I wanted to bring to the people that I cook for. So I started cooking professionally, bearing in mind that I had those influences when I was in 2008, I believe I began. And my goal was to create a meal delivery service that would bring fresh, organic, scratch-made food, nothing processed, into people's homes when they needed it most, all packaged for individuals. And what happened was I picked up as a client the governor of the state of Minnesota. He was running for governor. So I had to cook for him for a year and a half.
Wow.
It made my business real in a very big way. And he was a very meat and potatoes guy. And other people that I was cooking for at the time had different food issues. So I really learned fast that people eat very differently from each other. And I had to learn all the bells and whistles of gluten-free and dairy-free, even keto, which I'm not a fan of, but I know all about it. But the people that I helped lose weight, I came up with a formula for them, which was very much based on my version of the food pyramid, which has fruits and vegetables at the bottom of it as the base, and then working up from there to whole grains, adding in lean meats and proteins and that type of thing. Then, so that went on for years. I opened my own restaurant. When I opened my restaurant, I fell away from some of that because it was a restaurant and we were doing desserts and we were doing croissants. And then when I started my cooking club, I closed the restaurant, started my cooking club based on the fact that Americans aren't cooking. And I knew this because I had so much trouble finding employees. And when I did find employees, they didn't grow up in homes where the families cooked. So I saw a need and I started my cooking club. Well, last year I was working on a program. This was last October, and called a 28-day reset. And I just started thinking about myself and how I was actually eating. And, I always buy good food. I always make everything from scratch, but I had really stopped practicing what I had been preaching. And I began to realize that what my diet had become was very carb dependent. I mean, good carbs, whole grains, and, some flour issues, some, I don't really eat desserts, so it really wasn't that, but carb-based and not starchy vegetables, but not green leaf vegetables. I was eating a lot of cheese. I love my dairy, but it was too much. and sugar, even though I'm not a big dessert eater, had crept into my diet because it was in my favorite yogurt, and I make granola, and I love dark chocolate, and I put honey in my tea. So in little tiny ways, I stopped recognizing it had crept in, and the problems I was having, I'd gained, as I found out, ultimately about 50 pounds over the years. I was having joint pains, a variety of little things that were bothering me. So I thought, okay, I'm working on this program. I'm going to initiate my own philosophy on myself. And I came up with a formula for me, which was really, really simple. Because I didn't want to do something like have to check into an app. And I look at all these programs, by the way. I look at Noom and Weight Watchers and the Mayo Clinic diet, Cooking Like diet. I'm looking at all those types of things all the time over the years because I need the information so I can cook for other people.
Yeah.
Physician, heal thyself, right?
Right, exactly.
Exactly. So what I came up with was, for 2 meals a day, I'm going to base them on everything that I know is what I should be eating as the base of my diet. So leafy greens, cucumbers, tomatoes, artichoke hearts, herbs, celery, carrots, all of those types of things, zucchini, broccoli, and I can basically have as much of that as I can manage. I'm going to avoid, for those 2 meals, starchy vegetables like squash, potatoes, peas, that type of thing, basically root vegetables, and 2 to 3 servings of food or fruit. That's,
Cool.
Then I'm adding in, I can have some lean proteins, eggs, moderate amounts. So, I'm talking 4 ounces or an egg a day, that type of thing, moderate amounts, but you really don't need much protein to get the benefits of protein.
And can I just ask you to, you say that the amount, did you actually weigh your food or did you eyeball it?
I've cooked for so long, I can eyeball just about anything. So,
You have
so
that skill.
yeah, so no, I did not weigh it. But I am fairly confident that I know exactly what I'm eating because of that
Yes.
skill that I developed. But I highly recommend, if you don't have that, weighing your food is the best way to do it, or learn to visually know what you're roughly eating.
Yes.
And I think people, just out of their own cultures, eat way, way more than they realize they are.
Yeah, and it's actually part of the problem with the nutrition scientific research or the studies they do, is that they rely on people's perceptions and memory of what they ate for their surveys and things. And we are really bad at judging how much we eat.
Yes. And I mean, that would be the first thing that I would recommend that people do. And I certainly do this in the cooking club, is buy yourself a good kitchen scale. Because when you think you're eating, if 4 ounces of chicken and you're actually eating half a chicken. You're not eating 4 ounces of chicken. So anyway, let me get back to just my little formula. So in addition to that, no added fats or sugars, no dairy, no isolated carbs like grains, potatoes, rice, that type of thing. So that's my 2 meals, right?
Right.
And then my third meal is mindful. So I'm watching what I'm doing. And that's really important. You have to watch yourself. You have to make a commitment to really, really paying attention to what you're doing, because a lot of eating happens mindlessly. So I'm mindful and portion controlled, but I can do pretty much anything that I want to. So I want to have some pasta, I have some pasta, but I have a reasonable amount of pasta.
It sounds to me like you're more of a moderator. I did a podcast episode about some people are more moderators and some people are more abstainers. And it sounds to me like you're more of a moderator. You can handle just a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, getting back to the idea that I started cooking professionally because I absolutely love food. I love being around it. I love watching it grown. I love the people that grow it. So I'm fascinated with the whole system, and I want to affect it positively. So I did not want to not participate in good food. I wanted to find a way to realign my taste buds and actually taste my food and think about what I was doing. And once you get to the mindset, I'm going to eat the required amount of fruits and vegetables, even that's a lot of food. It kind of knocks out your hunger for all of these other things. And plus, I've been listening to some of your work, and once you take some of those things out as being the base of your diet, you don't miss them. They're just like little treats.
Yeah, it's true. We can get used to anything, and we can have a positive attitude to anything. Mm-hmm. And then we create our new normal.
Exactly. A new normal where you feel really, really good.
Yes.
So that's the crazy thing about it is some of the side benefits I got, aside from weight loss, my joint pain went away, my hair became much healthier, my skin, I had strange little skin problems, just in terms of itchiness and that type, all of it stopped. Gastrointestinal problems stopped. My stress was lower. I am generally all around happier because I can wear the clothes that I used to wear 20 years ago. The benefits were far beyond weight loss.
Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. And can you remind me again, when was this that you sort of discovered this 28-day reset?
The 28-day reset, I actually wrote 3 years ago, and it was designed to be launched in January, sort of an after the holidays reset. And the intention that I had with the original plan was to give people healthful foods. It wasn't designed to be a diet in any way, but get people to reconnect with simpler recipes. And I, designed a lot of things that were kind of unusual, like stuffed sweet potatoes and things like that. So definitely not geared towards what I'm doing now. Although many of the recipes that are in the original 28-day reset are in that third meal category. So okay. They will be used. And then last year, when I was looking at updating the recipes, that's when it hit me that my own diet was really failing. And so was my health. And that's when I decided, well, I'm going to add a component on top of this. And we're in the middle of testing that component right now with actual cooking club members. And I'm not sure exactly what form it's going to be, if it's going to be a separate 28-day reset, or if it's going to lay on top of the original class in some fashion. But it will definitely have the component of weight loss and regaining control of your body.
Cool. And so what can people expect in the space of 28 days as a change in their habits and in how they see food?
The way we're going to roll it out is that we're going to have bi-weekly meetings. So there's an original meeting that we'll have all together that has quite a bit of paperwork to fill out. So you have to assess what you're eating, what you're doing. This is the process that I went through of just really recognizing what was actually happening day to day with what I was putting in my mouth and
Yeah.
and and writing it down and then making decisions about what had to change. And for me, that was I am not eating fruits and vegetables. I mean, and if I am eating them, I am covering them in cheese and
Mm.
doing all my little chefy tricks to make them tasty, but I'm not really tasting the actual vegetables. So I need to eat more fish and seafood. So I made a list of all of those kinds of things. That's what they will go through. And then we'll start the program. They get a shopping list, and then I give them a menu, a complete menu with
Cool.
options, and they get that every 3 days. So we check in every 3 days. The fourth day of the week or the seventh day of the week, they're on their own and they can pick a combination of whatever they have left over or they want to make from that week. And the reason we're doing that is that that's where they start to learn the skills of navigating how they build their own menus after the 28 days.
Yes, so that they can become independent and autonomous.
Right. It's a muscle that you have to build. You have to get used to writing menus and feeding yourself so that this whole system continues to work. And
Yes,
with the idea that, once you get to where you want to be, then it's going to be a different set of rules. But once you start feeling good, you don't want to go back.
true. Very,
You know,
very true. Yes, definitely.
so, and that was my goal with this whole thing and the 28-day reset. This version of it is eating for life, not eating for 28 days or till you achieve your goal and then it starts to fall apart. It's learning to love food and how to work with it in a healthful manner.
Fantastic, fantastic. And have you found that where people come into your world, do they already have an idea of their relationship with food? Or are you having to sort of undo years and years of bad habits?
Well, part of that assessment piece in the beginning is looking at what influences how you eat. Do you cook like your mother cooked? People have so many different stories. I grew up in a meat and potatoes family. I grew up on canned food. I don't eat eggplant. There's just all kinds of things that people have that are preconceived notions of what they will or won't do and why they are where they're at. And it's important to look at that. It's important to look at your background, and it's important to look at what you're willing to do.
Yes.
And because there are certainly people that want painless weight loss. Like, I'm not going to change anything, but I want that outcome. And
Yes, and that's sort of human nature, I found.
I think so. I mean, I think, nobody wants to have any pain. And what I wanted to do, I mean, I knew I was going to be eating differently. I replaced that pain with, I'm going to have this opportunity to experience these vegetables that I used to love. And I don't eat like I eat in the same way that I used to. I'm going to have the opportunity for one thing, this is most important to me as a chef, write new recipes for people that are based on these healthy habits, which is, that's what excites me maybe more than any of it. So as far as people's preconceived notions, I think a lot of people don't think they have them. I think a lot of people think they're eating healthfully and they're actually not. And that gets back to largely the mindfulness aspect of it. Are you really aware of what you're actually eating? And are you really aware of what those foods are doing in your body?
Yes, yes. And I think actually preparing and cooking those foods does help a lot with mindfulness.
Absolutely. And I mean, the whole process of cooking and why I started the cooking club is it's a it's a beautiful process. It's grounding. It's not just about nutrition. It's about family. It's about the kitchen being the center of your world. And those are the aspects that I never wanted to lose just because of the term weight loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it has such a bad connotation. And when I was researching other diets, the word diet is not one of my favorite words either. But when I was
Yeah.
looking at all these programs out there, oh gosh, they either want you to pay a lot of money or buy a lot of products, or it's kind of a negative experience, or they're making you do something to shock your system into ketosis or something that is going to, you know, make you lose weight, but not be sustainable.
Right. Not be sustainable and not be particularly enjoyable.
Right. Exactly. Oh, you know, and the other thing about it from a cultural standpoint, I didn't want to be labeled as losing weight. You know, sometimes when people get into the, you know, a life-changing type of thing, it becomes really negative for the outside people around them, or the outside people, the people surrounding them become negative because they've changed something, or
Mm.
they can't go out to dinner, or they, you know, they, the habit is not conducive to what they used to do together. And I wanted to come up with something that was just healthful and joyful, and you know, anyone in the room can get on the bandwagon because the food's good.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And sometimes I get the feeling that we get into self-sabotage with this internal dialogue that we have with ourselves. You know, well, I won't be able to do this, and I can't go to parties because I don't eat the cake anymore, and this and that. And I think it's all a form of self-sabotage because we don't like change.
Right. Definitely not. And we definitely don't want to give something up. But for, you know, for me, as long as I'm mindful of what I'm doing, if and I never have eaten desserts anyway, but
Hmm.
if if I went out to dinner, and I've done this a few times since I started this with the pandemic going on, it hasn't been a lot, but you know, I go out to dinner and I enjoy myself. I am mindful of what I choose to eat, but I'm not a drag. I'm fun. So
Yeah, yeah, totally. Same here. And it's nothing to do with what's on your plate. It's who you are.
yes, yes, exactly. And I don't, you know, I don't walk away feeling guilty. I don't punish myself because I'm not tracking every single thing. And, you know, the whole time I went through this process, I did not weigh myself.
Ah, good.
And
Yeah. So how did you know that? I mean, I guess you could just feel it in your pants, in your clothes, that you were losing weight.
well, you know, what I started with was I knew I weighed roughly 160 pounds because I had before I started it, I'd been to the doctor. So I knew roughly that's what it was. And I'm 5'3". So,
Okay.
um, and, but you know what? I never thought of myself as really being overweight. I just thought I had gained a few pounds. So I put myself in my own lovely little category. Um, but when I started it, I thought, I am not gluing myself to a scale. I am not, um, I'm going to just live this formula and I'm going to enjoy it. I didn't even tell my husband.
Hmm.
4 months into it, I just, when I realized it was really, really working, I said, "Have you noticed that I lost weight?" And he was like, "Yeah."
One of the worst things, one of the worst questions you can ask a husband, because he's like a deer in the headlights. What am I supposed to say now?
No, he was just like, "Yeah, I noticed. I just thought you didn't want to talk about it." And I said,
Cool.
"Well, that's, yeah, no, I didn't." And I don't want to now either. But anyway, so then I went on, and on my birthday in August, this last August, I turned 62, and I thought, okay, today's the day I'm going to step on the scale. And so I did, and I weighed 118 pounds.
Whoa, that's such an amazing difference.
It was, you know what I did? I moved the scale around the room because I thought it was like on uneven ground or something, and it wasn't measuring right. Jumped on it. Is this thing broken? No, it was quite a day. What a birthday present.
Wow, amazing. And how did you feel? Not just about the weight loss, but inside of yourself. How did you feel at that point?
You know, it was a tremendous sense of accomplishment, and it wasn't the weight. It was the fact that I felt this whole time that I was still creating and cooking, because
Mm.
during that time I was writing recipes, cooking for the farmers market. Do live cooking shows on Facebook for them, and live at the market now, throughout the summer. And I didn't stop any of that. I felt like I was joyfully eating, creating, new ways to incorporate vegetables. And so I felt super accomplished in that way and really prepared to write this new chapter for the 28-day reset. And, a lot of people are in the same place. And many of these people I know don't have a lot of weight to lose.
Yeah.
They're looking for realignment.
Yes. And support and, that input from someone who's been there, done that. And you've also got the chef skills professionally.
Exactly. I mean, and they know and trust me because they've been cooking with me, many of them for a couple of years now. And so now we have a new place to go without them feeling like, oh, I'm going on a diet.
Wonderful, wonderful. So this is your membership. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Certainly. I started it, as I said earlier, because I felt that people were not cooking. And my greatest fear with that was not just the health aspects, because I'm certainly concerned with that, but also just the loss of culture, traditions not being handed down. In our country, fast food is the cornerstone now. I mean, it's and I look at the grocery stores. There's so much takeout. There's so prepped meals. There's so much food with so many preservatives. So I decided to do something about it. And I've always done a lot of cooking demos. I've trained hundreds of people to cook over the years in many different ways. And I decided, well, I've got the internet, and my husband is a photographer and a videographer. So we started shooting, and I started with mise en place, just basically training people how to behave in the kitchen. And then we moved into food, and there's all kinds of content about whole grains, and it's just extensive. So now within the cooking club, there are almost 400 lessons.
Wow.
Even I'm surprised at that, about 500 recipes, and it's growing. We do weekly live webinars where we cook together. So there's just a lot going on. And I just started a book club. I'm so excited about that.
Wow. Is that like a recipe book club or?
It's a book club for food related books.
Ooh.
So, and the sky's the limit with that. So it has to have some sort of a food reference. But the book that we are starting with is Animal Vegetable Miracle by Barbara Kinsolver. So that's right in line with everything we're talking about right now. So eating from the earth and vegetable based and lean proteins and, low sugar, no sugar, that type of thing. So anyways, that's the cooking club.
Fantastic. And we're going to collab on our respective memberships, because you're going to come and give us a cooking class, at least one, right? In my membership. Cool. Yay. So that'll be in the After Sugar Club. Fantastic.
I mean, it's funny, when I met you, it's exactly what has been in the back of my mind is, to bring like-minded people in as teachers into my membership for people that are really hungry for information. They want to know as much as they possibly can.
That's beautiful. Hungry for information. Love that. I love that from a chef.
I did that accidentally.
Yeah. That was very creative. Can you tell us the name of your membership and how people can find you?
Sure. It's Bonicelli Cooking Club, and Bonicelli is my family name. The logo is actually my father's signature, so very near and dear to my heart. And the URL for the website is bonicellicookingclub.com. And if you go there, you have any questions, there's a little icon at the bottom right. You can just ask a question and it'll come right to me, and I will answer you right away.
Fantastic. Oh, thanks so much. So thank you for letting us into your world. And I have to say that the pictures in your membership are just delicious.
I'll pass that along to my husband.
Yes, please.
I married well.
Yes, what a dream. And so did he.
Yes, I tell him that every morning. Lucky you.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks so much, Laura, for talking to me and for sharing your love of food, which I think we have one of the many things that we have in common.
Yes, Netta, thank you. This has been just a joy.
Thank you. Wow, I talked to a real chef. I'm so impressed with people who choose cooking as a career because it's like for me, before I cut sugar from my diet, cooking was a bit of a chore, but then I became a bit of a food snob or a foodie, and the quality of what I choose to eat became so much more important that cooking skills actually became enjoyable for me. And maybe if I'd have discovered life after sugar before, I'd have learned more about cooking when I was younger. But hey, better late than never, right? Thank you so much to Laura. And Laura actually did come into my membership, the After Sugar Club, and left us some wonderful cooking videos and recipes, and had a smashing Q&A session with the After Sugar Club members, where they asked her all kinds of cooking questions and food questions. And believe me, Laura is definitely going to come back into the membership. And if you want to be part of the After Sugar Club, just go to aftersugarclub.com and press on the green button, Join the Club. It's a private monthly membership where we have 2 live Zoom calls per month where you get all the support, the encouragement, the guidance and the accountability you need to begin or to continue your path to your life after sugar. What does that mean? It means feeling free from sugar, breaking free from the hold that sugar and other types of comfort foods have on you, and getting to a place where you don't need or even miss them anymore. It's such an amazing feeling of freedom. The After Sugar Club is always open, and there's always a place just for you. So come and join us whenever you feel you're ready. And don't forget to check out the Life After Sugar YouTube channel. And if you found this podcast is helping you in your life after sugar, then please rate it and leave a review to let me know how this episode or this podcast in general is helping you in your life after sugar. Thank you for listening. That's it for this week. Keep in touch and see you soon for another episode.